There's a damn big fog here. I can see the moon, but the neighbor's house, barely. If the fog would clear, the house wouldn't be the same. It would appear much differently. In this way, even if I would see it in the daylight, I couldn't see it. Not the same. Well, this is how the years go by. I haven't even opened my eyes, but I can already hear my alarm clock shouting in a reproachful voice. Wake up, you laziness. I can't believe that 8 hours of sleep is not enough. I know, if you could, you would idle in your bed all day long. But now, you have to work. Let's go. Make your life of failures a bit better. I push snooze just to make it shut up, but I can still hear it grumbling to itself. 10 minutes more, 10 minutes more, always just 10 minutes more. Altogether at least half an hour. A bit later, I get up, and as I shuffle in the direction of the bathroom, I can still hear my dissatisfied alarm talking to itself. Again, she went back to sleep. I can't believe it. After all that, I do my job so precisely, so dedicated. As soon as I step into my bathroom, the mirror starts to whine. Oh no! Look, it's going to be a bad hair day. Again. I wash my face, but only so the mirror starts again. Oh no! Is that a wrinkle I haven't noticed before? I put on some face cream. I'm sorry to tell you, girl, but it doesn't help if you just put on more cream than usual. It's about lifestyle, you know. I wander into the kitchen. I don't want to talk against myself, starts the mocha pot, but you shouldn't drink that much coffee. Just look at yourself. It's right. It's really not healthy, approves a half-rotten apple. While eating breakfast, I'm scrolling on my phone. Oh, wow! Look at it. One of your high school classmates will have a baby. And one of your colleagues ran a half marathon on the weekend. When will you finally start to do sports? Last week you didn't even reach 3,000 steps a day. I counted. Oh, wow! Look at this ad. What a pretty dress. Not if you could wear it somewhere, but... Disappointedly, I make my way to the bathroom again, where I already know my toothbrush will shout at me. Oh no! You ate something sweet for breakfast again. You unsalvageable. How could I help you anymore? I don't feel like going to work just to listen to the blaming of my computer and calendar for 8 hours straight. I pack my bag. You forgot the car keys again, it warns me. I go back for the keys, and finally I step out of the door. Another grey day is waiting for me in this world, deprived of all magic. I'm made up of only memories, book receipts, love letters. a labial building that a light breeze could blow apart. Of course, later, another wandering, lost wind could collect the pieces with the same momentum, leaving just a few bits behind, those certain never-returners. I can confidently say that more than half of the people I have ever encountered I wouldn't recognize on the streets. Maybe even more, but I don't want to exaggerate because exaggeration would make me discredited. The 50-50 is safe. 50 that after a few years I will forget you too. 50 that I couldn't list all the first names of my elementary school classmates. 50 that my siblings and I already forgot where we had our holiday in the summer of 2014, while my parents saved their money for a whole year for that trip. But 50 that they can't remember either. 50 that I can't remember the voices of my past lovers. I'm sure they can't remember mine either. The other day, I was searching for a number in my address book, in what I've been using for almost 10 years now. Ivan. Just a first name, but it hit me so hard on the head that I had to sit down. I forgot one of my past boyfriends. Even though it lasted only for a few months, it had a huge impact on me. Ivan, with whom I ate crème brûlée for the first time in my life on one of our first dates at a small restaurant. It was autumn. He had me take off my coat. We sat inside. The wall was wood, varnished dark. He told me about his life. I listened. He recommended a sweet and savory soup. I said yes. It wasn't good, but I ate it anyway. I liked the weird consistency of the mushroom in it. Most of the times we met on the Petőfi Square. We walked from there to that fountain we could sit next to for hours. He was a university student with curly hair, thin, insecure. His kisses were the same too, thin and insecure. If he would be worried that all of this is just a dream, the fountain, the autumn, and me, and if he would bite my lips, all of this would shatter to pieces. So he fell on me with his full weight. Ivan, a forgotten lover, whom I haven't thought about for years, not even while eating crème brûlée. But suddenly I could see him in front of me with each of his small wrinkles, with his playfully curly hair, wearing his t-shirts of rug bands as he was standing in front of me, full of uncertainty, looking at the ground as he was talking, and then lifting up his huge grayish-green eyes and asking something. I see his lips moving. I can hear his voice, but I can't understand what he's saying. Maybe he's asking me if I want to be his girlfriend. I was wondering, is he still using the same address book? Well, 50-50. Oh my God, we know each other! Turned to me a guy on the street while I was going home after work. Indeed, he looked familiar. From where, I had no idea. Maybe we saw each other on the street or at a party before. Maybe. Sorry, I can't remember. Where from? I don't know. Isn't it strange? Yes. I couldn't remember his features, but still, it felt like if we would have been friends from somewhere very long ago. We introduced ourselves. We told about our lives, trying to search for some common ground, but we still couldn't find the key to this mystery. Maybe we know each other from our previous lives. Do you believe in this kind of stuff? I don't know, not really. Either way, wherever we know each other from now, inevitably we have to talk about that. About what? About something we cannot talk about with anyone else in the world. About the deepest topic. And what do you think? What is exactly the deepest topic? I asked, but I regretted my mocking tone as soon as I saw his sparkling eyes filled with enthusiasm, turning gloomy. I have no idea. But we should inevitably talk about it. We can't do anything else. The whole situation just felt bizarre. On one side, I wanted to leave without a word, go home and take a shower. But on the other hand, I felt deeply captivated by this unknown but in some mysterious way still familiar young man, as if I could solve this secret relationship between us, could solve all my problems at once. You are right. It's inevitable. We both remained silent. We were thinking with empty brains, anxiously waiting for the other to say something or at least cough a little, and with that as a shot of a starter pistol, start the conversation. We both looked at the ground. So, for breakfast, as usual, I made 2 toasts, one savory and one sweet, and of course a cup of coffee. Sounds idyllic. Unfortunately, I can't drink coffee. My digestion is already too fast, and you could tell. You would shit yourself. Exactly. Once, when I went to a holiday in Thailand, and I told him about the most embarrassing moment of my adult life. Then he told me an anecdote in a similar mood. From the funnily embarrassing stories, we moved to the ones that are so awkward that we never talked to anyone about them. From there, we went to the sad moments, to the loss of pets, family members, friends. Then a wave of nostalgia drifted us away with childhood and school. Maybe we know each other from there. We couldn't find anything indicative among our memories. From childhood, we moved to our childhood traumas, to the hits and words, then to the first memories that determine the very base of our personalities. After that, we talked about the teenage years, cutting our wrists, the first love, the first kiss, all the ups and downs, and all the firsts needed to become an adult. We talked about memories we didn't even knew existed. After a while, I wasn't even sure that the experiences I was talking about are real or not, but the stories rushed out from me uncontrollably. Who knows if all of those really happened with me, or maybe I was telling about memories of other people walking past us, unconscious about that suffocating miracle happening inside us. From the teenage years, we arrived to the adulthood, to the difficulties and views, to the reading experiences. Politics, religion, spirituality, poetry, ourselves. At this point, we were talking for about 3 days straight without a pause. The words spilled out from our mouth mostly incoherently, which we couldn't stop even if we wanted to. What came to our minds, we said it out, sometimes talking parallel, but always conscious about what the other is saying. And then, in an early morning, we ran out of words. That who had the last word doesn't matter. We were looking at each other. This stranger, who were still familiar in some way, more familiar than myself, after all the words we said out loud, looked inexpressibly distant. I told him everything, but the everything made no sense. I looked at him. He looked at me. I knew what he is thinking of, about words that are impossible to say out loud. I looked at him. He looked at me. Suddenly we bursted into delicious laughter, almost at the same time, relieved. Then we looked at each other. We talked without words about death, the deepest topic, and we knew exactly where we know each other from. I was 15. I went home from dorm for the weekend. I had my birthday. I read in my bed all Saturday. Mom said, "Go down to the park," in excuse of fresh air. I went down. I was reading, I was sitting on a bench. Somebody shouted next to me. I looked up. I saw a butterfly. It was yellow. It was pretty. I draw it next week, in history class. Because I don't like history. I never paid attention. I got a C at the end of the semester. I started to go to tutoring. After one tutoring class, I went to the antiquarian. I got a book. It was about adventures. The owner had a cat. It was always sleeping on one of the shelves. It was big and grey. That winter, I got a new jacket. I chose grey, just as the cat. A classmate asked where is it from. I told her. We talked about other things too. We became friends. Once we were walking on the streets. We met with an old friend of hers. I had a crush on him. He had curly black hair. Later, when I studied in uni, I had a boyfriend. He had curly black hair too. He looked kinda similar. It didn't work out. So we broke up. After, I adopted a dog. Because I felt lonely. I took him out for a walk twice a day. After a party, I had to go home earlier to take my dog for a walk. I missed the last bus. A classmate dropped me home with car. We became friends. Later, I moved together with his sister. She had a cat. It didn't like my dog. Once, it scratched the nose of my dog. I took it to the vet. The vet was nice. I liked him. We dated. We moved together. We went for a holiday together to the sea. We ate at a restaurant. We went for a walk to the beach. He proposed. We got married. We were happy. We celebrated every anniversary. At Christmas, we visited his parents. I got a cake pan from my mother-in-law. We made a lot of cakes. One time, we wanted to make strawberry cake. I sent him to the shop for strawberries and baking soda. He went by car. The hospital called me. He died in an accident. He died because of me. If I didn't see that yellow butterfly on my 15th birthday in the park, he wouldn't have had an accident. So he wouldn't have died. But even more, it's my parents' fault. Because if I wasn't born on that day, I wouldn't go home from the dormitory, and then I wouldn't see that terrible yellow butterfly. The only thing that consoles me is that butterfly already died long ago. Dearest, I know, I should have written to you a long time ago, but as you could possibly feel too, our parting was not the most beautiful. At that time I had mixed feelings about you. That feeling reminded me of those afternoons in my teenage years when we went to the beach, and if the weather was a bit more windy and the waves are bigger, we waded up to our waist in the water and just looked to the infinite ocean. We waited for the waves, which most of the time were even higher than us, then jumped into them, heads first. If a wave came that was too big, it pushed us down to the bottom, into the sand, rolling us to the land, just like it did with the shells and the fragments of corals, helplessly, but while we could still feel the ground under us. We didn't realize with my friends back then that we are playing with our lives. So, this is how your departure felt like. But at first I thought that it's just a big mess of water that I can jump in, head first, and if I don't think I will not be afraid, and in a moment I can breathe again on the other side, past where the waves are breaking. Well, I have to admit it didn't happen. When you went away, I felt like that the whole ocean disappeared, evaporated, and that I just imagined the floating. Forgive me. At this point, the ink blurred. I didn't do it on purpose, but if I think about the ocean, this melancholic nostalgia always captivates me. In the mornings, it's hard to admit, when I'm looking out the window, drinking my morning coffee, I can only think about what it would be like if you would be here with me. Then at least we would be together in this. But I can't say honestly that I regret letting you go. Maybe if you stay, I would regret that. Sometimes I would like to shout with everybody. With my mom, my brother, my teachers, friends, with my boyfriend. I was so excited to tell them that I met you. At first, I wanted to tell everyone. In the bakery, on the underground train, to the homeless man playing guitar. You might have heard it too. But as I introduced you, everyone became silent. They didn't like you. Nobody. But in my eyes, you were so perfect. Maybe just the enchantment of the novelty. Maybe they were right. You were problematic, irritating. The opinion of the majority made me uncertain. I let myself be influenced. I admit that you were different, but I was not afraid of you, not even for a moment. But just 1 minute of uncertainty. Barely 60 seconds were enough to say yes, or actually no. And believe me, I regretted it as soon as I said it out loud. But there was nothing to do anymore. The world around me breathed in a sigh of relief, and soon after that I was standing in the middle of the dried out ocean. Wherever I looked, just sand and mud. If you think I'm writing this letter to find an excuse, you are right. My goal is selfish. I don't want to remember you ever again. I tried to discuss it with you too, if you can still remember. I asked you crying if you would rather stay, but you stayed silent. You didn't even look at me. You weren't there in your mind anymore. Now, I don't know anything. Wherever I look, just the dried out ocean. Can you see what you left behind? I don't even know if I miss you, but if you would be there, at least there would be the two of us. In my imagination, you feel the same somewhere, wherever you went. Finishing my letter, I want to tell you a secret that I never told to anybody, and I never will except of you. If you had been born, I would have named you Boggy. Hugs, Mom. Look, I draw this. This is a house, but you wouldn't have thought so, right? Because it looks exactly like a turtle. I tricked you. This is a house. Look, there is a window. It's a bit more blue than the green. Can you see it? No, there are no turtles living inside. They have their own houses. Yes, shells. And if it starts to rain, they just pull in their heads and legs, and they make tea for themselves, looking at the rain from the inside. Unfortunately, we are humans. We have to bring an umbrella with us if the weather forecast says that the weather will be bad, and then run home babbling, wet up until our knees. It's not even sure that there will be tea at home, because we, humans, we need to buy it from the shop. The turtles always have tea, and in this turtle house there is always tea too. You are asking who is living there if not turtles? Well, us. No, not your mom, nor my little sister. Just the two of us. And there will be as much tea as we want. I would like to have a lake next to the house too, but I haven't drawn it yet. Will you help me build it? Inside the lake, turtles would live. And when winter comes and the lake freezes, we would bring them inside into our turtle house, so they will not feel the cold. In winter, our house would be called the Turtle House with Turtles. Because I love turtles. And I love you. When I was young, still in the beginning of my path, full of defiance, will to bloom and ambitions. One day I said to my master, "Pak Eko, how many more springs do I need to see until the masters will accept me as one of them? See, I swing the toya as fast as your eyes cannot follow. My kicks are always accurate. I'm fast as a monkey and unpredictable as a snake. So I ask, how much more springs do I need to see until my glory, O my master?" Pak Eko answered like this. Many of my students approached me with this question already, and I always said the same. When you can be aware of every moment of every day that passed while following your path. How could it be possible, my master? Even if from now I would be aware of every single movement of the grass, every word that the breeze is whispering to me, every thought running through my brain, what was before it's already lost. I can never get it back. How could I remember everything that already happened? Can you see that red flower tree, my child, that is looking at us, standing next to the pendopo? Go and ask the past from that. He saw every step you took, every movement of yours, every missed and masterfully delivered punch since you are here. It knows it all. Listening to the words of my master, from that day on I spent my free time sitting under that red flower tree meditating, asking it to tell its secrets, give me the ability to see my past, my path leading to the moment of now. But the tree didn't answer. The guardian of that ancient knowledge just stood there and carelessly let the wind make its leaves dance. Meanwhile, my days passed with training, meditation, and helping others. But no matter how much I tried to focus, the memories of momentums flew away from me, cheekily laughing. 7 springs passed that way. Whilst I sharpened my techniques, I defeated the great masters, one after another. But Pak Eko kept shaking his head. The silence of the tree made me more and more upset. Though I trusted it with all my secrets, I opened my heart wide to it. It remained silent, its leaves dancing in the wind. Immeasurable anger grew in me, and one day after my practice, I knocked over the red flower tree. I ran to my master in despair. Pak Eko, I failed. With my brain fogged in anger, I toppled the red flower tree with my bare hands. All the past years I spent trying to remember each and every single thing, but my thoughts were only filled with that tree. It stole all my memories of the past and coming days. And it just stood in the same place all the time, letting the wind make its leaves dance. I still don't understand. How could a tree remember, and how could it teach me to remember too? See, child, started slowly Pak Eko. That red flower tree remembers nothing from the past, but it remembers everything from the present. Pak Eko closed his eyes, and he stood, and he breathed, and he saw. I turned to the sun and relived each moment of the past 6 years. So here it is, in front of me, the last door. When I looked at it first, my heart stopped for a beat. I felt like this other times too. This mixed, excited and anxious heartbeat, blend of the imminent laugh and tears. All of the feelings I ever felt now squeezes my throat with an unbearable strength. I want to take a step. To the front or back, I can't decide. I'm waiting for a bit. I arrived to the last door. Now should come the part when my life flashes in front of my eyes, no? Then why everything is so silent, so still? This quietness is somehow suspicious. Did I do something wrong? Is there a button somewhere I have to push or a lever to pull to activate that legendary cinema screening? I'm sure that this is the last door. This have to be it. I know, I feel. I carefully turn the doorknob. I push away the door a bit, just a few millimeters, then I pull it back. It's definitely open. Then why it's not coming? I want to see that famous waterfall of memories. The most beautiful moments of my life. It doesn't even have to be beautiful. I don't have claims. Just let it be something that is worthy to remember. I can't enter without it. Then what else was it all for? Hey, is there some mistake? There should be some mistake. Or is that really how it should end? Well, that's how. That like a jerk I'm talking to myself. I look back behind me. On the walls, on both sides, abundance of doors and windows lined up. I had the fortune to encounter each of those. I look around. I listen. Nothing. Well, if nothing, I'm fine with that too. I start to walk in that corridor backwards. Around me there is still silence. Nobody is trying to say stop, nobody grabs at my hand to pull me back. So I go. Around me, doors and windows everywhere. Nothing interesting, they are closed, you can't see in, or should I say out. When I was here for the first time, I only suspected what's behind it. Now I know exactly. Even though I never open most of them, they don't have secrets in front of me anymore. Dangerous knowledge. I'm tempted to open a door or another, to climb in a window, but my feet carry me on their own, unstoppable. I feel the burden of each step as my muscles tensing, lifting, heel, rolling toes, lifting. My feet are carrying me faster and faster. I'm almost running. There are less and less doors and windows on the walls until I'm running between naked white walls. I'm rushing. I can't stop. I can't breathe. Stop. I look back. I don't even think about going back. In front of me, in this end of the corridor, there is another door. I place my hand on the doorknob. I carefully turn it. I pull it. It's open. I look around. Nobody. Hey? Nothing. This is my chance. That what will be the consequences, I have no idea. I open the door wide open. I take a deep breath. And I enter.